Hey guys, Chris here. So right behind me we have a Volvo I actually never have driven, the previous generation Volvo XC70, which was succeeded by the now and current Volvo V90 Cross Country. In today's video, we're going to take a look at this car on the interior, on the exterior, and then a short test drive at the end of the video. The Volvo XC70 has always been a car that I've been very fond of. Though never having driven one, I've always liked them. Since the first generation back in 1997, it morphed into the second generation XC70, the third generation XC70, and now succeeded by the V90 Cross Country, bringing the Cross Country name back. But I'm going to say that this was probably the car that popularized the tall and rugged station wagon with the 1997 variant. Audi have now come out with an all-road A6, an all-road A4, and Mercedes also with an all-terrain. You have the all-track Volkswagen, so on and so forth. Yes, you had the Subaru Legacy Outback back in the 90s, but the Volvo V70 Cross Country was the first premium station wagon to do this, and it's really nice. It's a really cool design and a cool concept. So just walking around the car here, we'll walk over and start with the front end. Oh, let's start with the side end. The side profile. So what makes this car stand out from, you know, a normal XC or a normal V70 is that it is raised. I think it's about 5 or 6 centimeters, about 2 inches from an ordinary V70, and it has this black unpainted body cladding which gives it this rugged look. And then this car in this special gray brown metallic looks really nice. It's like a champagne color. In light it looks champagne and brown, but in the dark it looks more gray. So out front we have this much more aggressive, much more rugged front bumper with satin chrome details, or satin finish details actually. And this car actually has some scratches here on the front bumper. Just going to show you guys that. This car is currently for sale at my mate's dealership, TS Autosalg, here in Fredrikstad. Link in the description down below. I'm pretty sure he will sort this out for you before purchasing this car. So let's walk over to the other side where it looks a little more pretty, where it doesn't have any damage. So down low you have this lip spoiler here, which is black, which is satin finished. You have this mesh grille down here below, and then you have the ordinary Volvo grille of the day in this pattern. Don't know what this pattern is called, these squares. And then you also have the old Volvo logo. On the side we have this rugged piece of bumper here where you have the black molding here, you have that satin finishing here, and then you have the fog light housed inside there. And these headlights are probably the nicest headlights, pre-Thorshammer headlights of any car in my opinion. They're just so clean and so classy. And though this car is basically a 11-year-old platform, I think this thing, especially an XC60, an XC70 variation, looks modern still. Over to the side, you have these black moldings around the fenders, and I actually think they also extend a bit out from a normal V70, just giving it a much more, much more muscular stance. And this has these beautiful XC wheels. Those 17s, they fit the car very well, and these 17s look bigger than the 18s in the XC60 I drove in the previous video. And these wheels are actually very nice. I really do like the design of these wheels. Over to the side we have more of that black molding down there along the side of the car, and then you have more here on the actual doors, and here you have more of that satin finishing. Around the windows we have a satin or a more matte metal finishing. And then this car also has the privacy glass or the dark depth windows, the tinted windows from the B pillar and all the way back. On top we have also, with the theme, black molded or black plastic roof rails with XC badging there. Over here to the rear, we have this deck spoiler painted to the body color, and then the rear bumper is also different from a normal V70. It's actually the whole rear bumper is just black, cladded, not unpainted finishing, just finishing off that rugged look. You have here the rear diffuser, parking sensors, and you also have dual exhaust. There are tips on each side. This car also has a trailer hitch. And you also have down here housing the fog lights and the reflectors. You have more of that satin finishing. And then over to the rear hatch, you have the the classic Volvo lettering there, spaced apart, and then you have the classic Volvo taillight design, that waterfall design, which also moves over the shoulder line of the belt. This car just has a very clean shoulder line, just very clean and classy look. And then the rear, just going to show you guys the hatch. This 2012 model actually has an electric lift gate, which is operated there by that button. And this trunk is huge. If you've seen my V70 video, you'll see that this easily swallows and fits 4 wheels. And this thing is just square, it's deep, and maybe not finished as nicely as modern Volvo trunks. It's just so vast, a square space, and with this, this upright tailgate design, it's a really usable space. So before we step into the interior, here you have the correct to the period Volvo key, just a plastic key with a metal keychain hook here on the end of it. You have the lock and unlock buttons. You have also the the panic button there, and also you can also open the trunk by this button, and that's how that works. Just gonna close that up again. Very practical to have that on the key. Let's see if we can also close it. No. You can actually only open it, so that's nice to know. You can only open it from the key. You can't actually close it. This car does not have keyless go or keyless entry, and it doesn't have folding mirrors. So the car's now unlocked. The mirrors were unfolded after and before unlocking the car. So this is the correct to the period Volvo door design, not the premium materials and the high quality stuff they do today, but still very nice, softly padded on top, on the sides, and down here low in the cabin also. And this portion here is faux leather. Also have more of that faux leather here stitched there, and then you have a really nice metal release for the door. Here you have a plastic trim. I actually think it is. It looks like plastic. Yeah, that is plastic with this pattern here, just like almost like a random pattern. And then you have also the window controls here. All windows are automatic up and down for all 4 windows. You also have here to lock, children lock or child lock the rear windows. And then here you also have the controls for the door mirrors, which are electrically operated. And then you have the central locking there. Over to the seat here. This car has electrically operated seats, which have 3 memory settings, which is, I believe, one more than what you get in the V90 Cross Country. I might be mistaken there, but I think you only have 2 memory settings on the V90 Cross Country. I only think the XC90 is the only Volvo that has 3 memory settings. Apart from this, the XC70. So here you have, classic Volvo seat design of the period. A very comfortable seat, and you can see that the leather and the wear has held up very nicely on this car for being 6 years old and with 152,000 kilometers. That's about 95,000 miles. And it just looks nice. It feels nice. You have nice side support, and they are really comfortable, these seats. Just going to move the seat back to step into the cabin. And here you have Volvo's steering wheel design of the time period. Their old steering wheel design, which just feels really nice, really solid. The rim isn't too thick or too thin. On the left side, you have the cruise control button. So here to activate your cruise control, increase and decrease your speed. Here you pause your cruise control, and then you resume it there. On the right side, you have skip forward and backwards for both track on radio and media. Here you have voice commands. Here you can exit the menu there, because this car does have a navigation. And then you have volume up and down here, and you can also scroll here. So let's see if we can just find the key here. Where did I put the key? In my left pocket. And just turn on the ignition to show you guys just briefly the screens here in the gauge cluster and also the nav screen here. So this car doesn't have keyless entry. It does not have keyless go. So you have to put your key there in that hole. Press once with foot off the brake to turn on the ignition. And the ignition is now on. Just going to turn down the fan there. Yes. Will that stop beeping? Okay, I think it wants us to close the door. Yes. So now just gonna let's see, read and then turn off the sound here on the radio. So in here you have Volvo's old gauge cluster. I do think you got this car at the end of its life cycle with the digital gauge cluster, but here you have the analog gauges, speed on the left, tach on the right there with these screens in the middle. Actually look really nice and don't look that dated compared to stuff today. So here on the left side you control that by the scroll wheel here. Behind here you have a scroll wheel and it's giving us message low battery. Okay, just have to, so you can also, here you have different let's see if we can scroll through that. No, we want to go up. Okay, since the ignition is off, but you can show there the range and other relevant information, your consumption and stuff like that. And then over to this screen here, which is the nav screen. I've covered this more extensively in the V60 and the last generation XC60 I drove last summer. I'm going to link to the videos up there in the right corner, so if you want to see this more in detail. But this infotainment system isn't bad at all. It works actually very nice, and as you can see, the screen is actually, though quite small, is of really high resolution and looks very nice and works very nicely. You can navigate it here through the buttons here, and you have hard buttons here. You have media, you have telephone, you have my car, just to show you guys that. And well, we can't activate anything because the ignition is off, but it's actually really nice to use, and I don't mind it at all, especially this in a 6-year-old car. It's actually quite impressive. Down here you have volume controls, you have here your controls for your media system, you have your phone buttons here for your dialer, and then as I said you have hard buttons here as shortcuts. Down here you have your analog or your physical climate control buttons, which I always do prefer to the touchscreen ones I have in my XC90, because these are just always available and always work, feel very nice. And also you have the fan speed there. And you can also here, you can fold down the rear headrest, and then you have the park assist here, and then you actually have hill descent control on this car, which is quite impressive. This car has a 6-speed automatic transmission. This is a D3, I think, with 163 horsepower, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to just double check that right now if we can see. 160. This is a D4. I do apologize. D4 all-wheel drive Summum with 163 horsepower. This is a 2.4 liter diesel which is the 5-cylinder. And just gonna put that back, hide that away, and made it to this 6-speed automatic transmission. This was also one of the first Volvos which had this floating dashboard with this storage behind her. You can see my hand there. Very useless, very useless in my opinion. I would rather prefer storage here in the center console instead of behind there, because it's really hard to reach while driving. This car has some really nice large cup holders though, and then you have some extended storage here, which you don't have in the old V60, S60 and the XC60, which is very welcome. And you can also close that up there, and you also have a rather large storage bin here beneath the armrest, and the armrest does work better than in the XC60 because it's much higher and much longer. So the rest of the cabin, you know, soft touch plastics on top of the dashboard, soft touch plastics there. This is hard, no, this is actually soft touch. So material wise, things are very nice, and the switchgear does feel really solid and really clicky. So take a step and look at the rear seat just quickly. And just gonna move my stuff here, my bags. You don't have to look at that, guys. And here you have the rear doors, same high quality materials as the front doors. These are softly padded, not softly touch. So when you press hard enough, you do feel the plastic beneath there, but that's fine enough. All the way down here, you have large pockets here in the rear door, so you have more of that faux leather there, and also there on the armrest. And you also have power operated windows, one touch down and one touch up. This car actually has, I didn't know you could get that, and that is impressive. This car actually has laminated windows, double pane laminated windows, the same I have in my XC90, and that is quite impressive. Yes, you have the logo there, which gives it better protection for break-ins, but also for better sound deadening. That is actually, I'm genuinely surprised there, but I thought this car was very quiet to drive. The rear seats look brand new in this car. Look how nice and matte that leather is. So that's what this would look like when new. Very nice. So the rear seat is big enough. I moved the seat back now, and I do have plenty of knee room here, though I'm only 5'7". A 6-footer would fit really nicely here. You have nice door pockets there, and the seat back, this is faux leather. You have a 12-volt outlet here, and you actually have heated rear seats. The outboard seats are heated, and you also have a center armrest here, which you pull down there. You have cup holders like that, and you have storage under there. Very practical and very nice. Actually a better armrest than what I have in my XC90. This is an height adjustable headrest for the middle seat. So that was the rear seat, guys. Now we're to the test drive portion of this video. So key in the ignition, press the start button there, and just gonna run the fan here. Ooh, it is 30 degrees centigrade outside. I'm not complaining. I do like warm weather, but it does get hot when filming inside a car with the AC turned off. So as I said, this car has the 2.4 liter diesel, also known as the D4 in this configuration. The 5 earlier, it's a bit confusing, but 163 horsepower, 2.5 liter inline, 2.4 liter inline 5, made it to a 6-speed automatic transmission. And this is my favorite Volvo diesel engine. Much nicer than the current engine they have, because this is quiet, this is refined, it doesn't vibrate like the new motor does. You don't have strange exhaust noises as you do in the new 2-liter engine, depending on which car you drive it in. This is just smooth and quiet. Even if you rev it out, it makes a really nice sound, and it doesn't matter if you're at 2,000 revs or at 4,500. It's silky smooth. This thing almost feels like a 6-cylinder, and if you drove it back to back with a 6-cylinder, you probably couldn't tell much of a difference. It's that smooth and that quiet. And as I've said in my last video with the XC60, the 2010 model I drove, if I could get this engine in my XC90, chances are I would go for it instead of the T8, because it's just so smooth and so quiet, and it's so refined. I don't understand. Yeah, probably emissions, blah blah blah. Let me know in the comments down below. You guys probably know why they can't use this engine anymore due to emissions and fuel consumption and stuff like that, but it's really nice, it's really quiet. I really do like this engine a lot. It's punchy, it's torquey, and in this car it just fits its character so well. The transmission is nice to respond, not the sportiest at responding, but you have no lag from a standstill. You have no lag, transmission lag at all, which is, you can't say that about old transmissions, not even modern transmissions. So it just fits the car very well. And here, you know, pulling out on the main road here, let's see, it's just, yeah, 163 horsepower is plenty enough for this car. It's by no means quick, but it's quick enough. It just suits the character of this car very well, and this car is just so quiet and so comfortable. I really do like this car a lot. To drive, if I had to drive this daily, I wouldn't mind it at all, because it's really comfortable, really quiet, and really smooth. No, it's not sporty, but it's not meant to be sporty. It's not floaty either. You know, you have confidence that this car will handle nicely around the corners. It's stable at speed, and it's firm, European car firm, but it's on the softer side. You know, like a Mercedes E-Class. It's not sporty like, you know, a 5 Series or something like an Audi A6. It's just meant to be comfortable, a cruiser, a long distance cruiser, a city car. All those, you know, all those driving places and driving tests just fit this car very well. This is a car I actually do like a lot, guys. So there you go, guys. That was my interior and exterior tour and test drive of the 2012 Volvo XC70. If you like this video, please drop me a thumbs up down below, and for more car content, as always, guys, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.